Hey there, I'm Adrienne, your go-to guide on this empowering journey to self-love and authenticity. I've transformed my own struggles into strengths, and now I help others navigate their path to their inner knowing and create personal fulfillment. On this show, we're not shying away from tough conversations. We're diving headfirst into topics like self-worth, overcoming limiting beliefs, challenging societal norms, and creating a life that's not just successful, but truly fulfilling. We're all about blending heartfelt, soul-searching chats with practical, actionable strategies. Think of this podcast as your trusty compass on the path to your most authentic life, mixed with a cozy fireside chat with a dear friend. Ready to uncover your true self and lead a life that's in sync with your deepest desires? You're in the right place, friend. Welcome to the Live Your Truth, Love Your Life podcast. Hey there, welcome back to another episode of Live Your Truth, Love Your Life. I'm Adrienne. Today, I have the immense joy of introducing a truly extraordinary individual, someone who embodies the spirit of enthusiasm, support, and relentless positivity. Cowbell, Rob Rich. I first crossed paths with Rob at the 29029 Everesting event in Snow Basin, Utah, back in 2021. There, as a volunteer, he was the heartbeat of the mountain. His boundless energy, the endless ringing of his cowbell, and his surprising treats were more than just a morale boost. They were integral to the successes of many, including mine. Since that first meeting, I've had the privilege of calling Rob a friend, and today we're here to talk about his incredible journey. At 45, Rob is not just an ultramarathon runner with a profound love for the outdoors. He's a testament to the power of perseverance and the human spirit. For over 2 decades, Rob has been a dedicated team member at UPS, where he met the love of his life, Stephanie, and together they're proud parents to 5 amazing daughters. His career journey at UPS is as dynamic as his running, from delivering packages to thriving in the feeder department. But it's not just his professional life that's inspiring. Rob has been a vital part of the running community, managing aid stations for vacation races in 29029, among other event companies. He lives for the moments of meeting new people and pushing their limits, a passion that extends into his personal life as well. Rob's commitment to serving others shines through his decade-long involvement in recovery groups. His experiences, both personal and observed, fuel his desire to help anyone and everyone stay positive and achieve their goals and dreams. So get ready to be uplifted and motivated as we welcome Cowbell Rob Rich to share his journey, insights, and the infectious energy that's sure to leave you inspired to conquer your own mountains. Rob, welcome to Live Your Truth, Love Your Life.
Thank you very much, Adrienne. I appreciate it.
Of course. So you have got a really incredible story, kind of a lot of ups and downs in life. You're an ultra marathon runner now, an endurance athlete, husband, philanthropist, just you do so much in your life, and it's amazing. I love it. So just to kind of kick things off, can you start off with just telling us about your journey a little bit of background about you and what has brought you to where you are now?
Where do I begin, Adrienne?
Wherever you want, really.
No, about 11 years ago, I had the opportunity. My brother, his daughter at the time was in a addiction recovery group, and prior to that, I did a lot of backpacking and hiking, and that's how I saw the outdoors, being the outdoors person that I am. And he invited me to the group, and he told me that, why don't you come join this group, be a part of it, and after every meeting, we go run a 5K around town. I was like, I don't run. Running is not fun. and so I decided, to support my niece. I'd go support her and go to these meetings, and I got into the running aspect of it and started loving it. I did a half marathon in October, and then that next June, I jumped straight to a 50-miler and haven't looked back since.
That's incredible.
And so with that, I've done several ultra marathons now, and just that part of my life has moved me to other things, other aspects of helping others, volunteering, working for event companies, different things like that, and just the ability that I have with my wife now, and to be out there on on the course with people, on the mountain with people, cheering people on, whether I'm doing the event or helping out at the event. I just love being out there.
Yeah. You are such a presence too on the courses. It's amazing. It really is.
I absolutely love, being out there and supporting you people. The
Mhm.
other crazies out there in the world that are trying to better themselves.
How would you say that getting into ultra running and these types of races, would you say it's changed the way that you look at what's possible for yourself and others, or what kind of like how has that changed your mindset?
In the beginning, like I said, I wasn't a runner, and
Mhm.
the more I did it, the more I knew that I could do more.
Mhm.
And it was a mental game for the longest time. Like, are you kidding me? You want me to run a half marathon? No, that ain't gonna happen. What? Don't jump into the 13 miles all at once. Start it a little bit at a time. And conquer those little things first, and then you'll eventually get to the longer distances, the larger things in life, the bigger mountains that come in life.
And that's kind of it. I think when you first start off, I know it was very similar for me. I'd never considered myself an athlete. And the idea of running, like that's not fun. Why would somebody do that for fun? But then once you do it and you kind of push yourself more and more, you're like, okay, from the 5K, like you said, I'll try the half marathon. And then you're like, okay, that wasn't quite as bad as I thought it would be. It was hard, but I did it. And then you're like, what's next? What's next? And you kind of just keep pushing. And
Yep.
and the community is so supportive, and that's part of what I love about that world is you can make this goal that's so much bigger than what you think you can do for yourself, and the people around you believe in you more than you believe in you sometimes. And I say
Yep.
that because you're one of those people that believes in everybody at 29029 and with vacation races on the course, like that they can finish that race, that they can finish that event even when they don't know it. You've gotten my butt up the mountain more than once, that's for sure. You climbed Snow Basin this year. Can you tell me about that experience?
Snow Basin, first of all, it was a year ago, December. I received an email welcoming me to Snow Basin. And at first, like, this isn't, what's going on? I didn't pay for this event. And it was interesting because then I contacted, Voice of the Mountain, Colleen Rue, and told her about it. And she's like, well, let me look into it. Well, a little later, I received a phone call from Matt Burrell, one of the higher ups in the company, and he told me that somebody had offered to pay for me to do the event,
Mhm.
and I was blown away that somebody would, out of the kindness of their heart, pay for me to do this event. And so I worked my tail off to make sure that I was ready for the mountain, and I made it a goal to not only do it for myself, but help anybody and everybody I could that was there on the mountain with me. And so
Mhm.
instead of just doing my 13 ascents, my goal was to be out there for the entire 36 hours. However many climbs I did, whether I got my 13, whether I did, 20, I didn't care. I was there to help other people out. And when I first started, I carried a pack that weighed 60, I think 60 pounds is what it was. And on the back of it was a sign that said, what weighs you down in life? So that everybody could see, start thinking of the things that weighed them down. And then I left that backpack at the top of the mountain after my first ascent, and with another sign next to it that said, leave it all on the mountain. There's no reason to carry that garbage with us. Leave it here, and let's be better when we get off the mountain. I had a goal of getting my 13 cents done by, I think it was by midnight.
Mhm.
And I knew that I was in the shape that I could do that. Well, after my first ascent was obviously slower because I had the pack on. Then I
Mhm.
got done with ascent number two and ascent number three. And at that time, I looked at my watch. I was like, I'm not even close to the pace that I wanted to be.
Mhm.
And I was like, what is going on? And so I started getting upset at myself. Like, Rob, you got to speed up. But then on my ride down the gondola after that third time, I had to take a step back. And
Mhm.
I'm like, you're not here for you. Don't worry about your time. You're here for those people that are talking to you on the mountain, those people that are wanting to know, my story. And so I could get to learn their story. And I climbed with different people the entire, weekend. And
Mhm.
that's what I was really there for, was to help everybody else out. I didn't, at that point, I learned that I didn't care about myself anymore. It was what can I
Mhm.
do to help others?
That's amazing. Gosh, so the event that we're talking about, 29029, you climb the height of Everest, the vertical feet, 29,029 feet in 36 hours. And I will just say it is so much harder than you think it's gonna be, no matter how much you train, no what like, because nothing ever goes according to plan. Like you said, you weren't at the pace that you wanted to be at. Nutrition goes sideways sometimes, the weather rolls in, like, it's always something, like, when you're on the mountain, and that's like life, right? Like, you have this plan, things are you know the way it's gonna go, you've worked towards it, and then it just kind of falls to pieces, and that's part of what I love about that event is, like, you think you got it and then you don't. And it really is the people like you on the mountain that are talking to you, that are pushing you, that are getting to know you and care about your story. And as you walk together and you chat, you don't even realize, or it doesn't register quite as strong as how awful this is as you're climbing, because you're loving the conversation with the person that you're with. And I tried to stay up and like jump on your lives and stuff and follow your progress, and just what you were doing for other people on the mountain was so special. I know, like I said, as somebody that you've helped get up the mountain, people wouldn't have finished if you weren't there doing what you did for them, breathing life into their climb. And it's just amazing.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah, absolutely. So you identified, I just want to highlight this as well, because not only did somebody, surprise you with the gift of 29029, and like you said, you're all about paying it forward, and you identified 3 people in your community and community that you work with that could benefit from the experience of 29029. And so not only did you climb, but you raised money to then be able to pay for 3 other people to experience it. So have you identified the people that are doing it? I think I saw a post there. And
Yeah, I think the first of the year, I put a post out there, letting
Mhm.
everybody know who my three friends are that are, going to be climbing Snow Basin this year.
Mhm.
Um, Janice Cook, here in
Mhm.
Pleasant Grove, Utah. Holly Bryson is out in Vernal, Utah, out on the east side, and then my good buddy Brock Bevel, who's down in Mesa,
Mhm.
Arizona. Uh,
Okay.
the 3 of them. I hope that they're ready for it when the time comes. I know that they're training hard right now, so we'll see.
Mhm. Yeah. It's one of those things though, whether you get the 13 ascents at Snow Basin or you don't, just getting on the mountain with the people there, it will change your life.
Right.
It absolutely will. If you, and I know this is probably a super tough question because I've tried to think about it myself, but if you were to say like one lesson from that mountain, from the climb that you did, that maybe those 3 could benefit from hearing, or somebody else, like what is something that you got from that experience that will stick with you?
I think one of the main things
Mhm.
is lean on others when you're struggling, because there's several times when you're climbing that stupid mountain that you don't want to keep going. You want to stop. It gets tough. Like that really steep part after aid station 2.
Yes. One step forward, 3 steps back sometimes.
Right? And the more the event goes on, the worse the terrain gets, and so it makes it even harder. And so yeah, lean on those when you're struggling, whether something like that, or in life, in general. When things get
Mhm.
tough, look to those that care about you, that are there, with you in the situation, and let them help you. Don't be afraid to ask for the help either.
I think that's super important because I think it's really hard first to admit when you need help and then to actually ask for it. And I think you're right, on the mountain, that is one of those places where that lesson really sinks in. Like you just got to lean on the people around you.
Right, right, and use the tools that are there for you. At a certain point, I started getting a pain in my heel,
Mhm.
not knowing exactly what it was. I asked one of the medics about it. He taped me up at one of the aid stations, and then I realized it probably something different than my heel. So I went into the recovery lounge, and they massaged my calves because my calves were really tight, and that fixed the whole problem. So using the tools that are given to us, can also make a huge difference in what we do.
Absolutely. Knowing you in some of our chats and hearing you on other podcasts, you've talked about addiction, that you've had suicidal thoughts, suicidal ideation. Could you kind of walk us through what that was like, and kind of how you went from that place in life to being like this thriving endurance athlete that pours so much into others, and just kind of like what that looked like?
Yeah, yeah. So uh, I was in a really bad marriage,
Hmm.
and I've got 3 amazing daughters, and my marriage got to the point where I couldn't communicate with my wife. The only way that I could really talk to her was through email, because that way I could get my feelings out, without being put down or told that everything was my fault. It got so bad that I work for UPS. I've been with them for 23 years now, and at the time, I was delivering in a town called Lehigh, and I delivered the main street of Lehigh with all the traffic and businesses. But my marriage got so bad, and it was to the point that I didn't want to continue on. I pulled up to my last business delivery for the day, and I looked in my driver's side mirror, and immediately I knew what was going to happen. I looked in my mirror, I saw traffic coming, and I jumped out my driver's side door. Luckily, people were paying attention
Mm-hmm.
and swerved around me. I wasn't injured at all, but I immediately contacted my wife, contacted my boss, and I ended up going to the emergency room
Mm-hmm.
to get help, whatever that was. I didn't know. I spent 18 hours in the emergency room talking with doctors. They were trying to find me a bed in a mental hospital, psych ward, whatever, rehab place. Um, Finally, one of the places, hey, bring him here. We'll figure something out. And I spent
Mm-hmm.
10 days in a psych ward. Just I want to say renewing my goals or but just figuring life out again.
Mm-hmm.
And at that time, I I got home. This was in, oh goodness, I think October, September, something like that. But then come December, everybody who knows a UPS driver knows that December time is pretty busy for us, and things just got worse and worse with my marriage, and so finally, January 1st rolled around, and I decided to stick on my snowshoes, and I went up in the mountains and played in the snow, and after about 8 miles of hiking, I sat down on top of the mountain and I built me a little snowman. And at that time, he was the one thing that I could sit and talk to because I knew he
Mm-hmm.
wasn't going to talk back. And I could say whatever I wanted to him. And for, I'd say, a couple hours, I sat up there and just poured out my thoughts and my feelings. And it eventually came to me that, divorce was the thing I needed to do.
Mm-hmm.
And so within the next week or two, after I got home, I filed for divorce, and the first week of April, everything was finalized, and I thought I was going to be the happiest man alive. But for a little bit, I was really scared, not knowing what I was going to do or about what I was going to how I was going to go about things because I'd never been really alone. I'd been married for 18 years at this time. It was pretty intimidating to go through this, and I wasn't sure what to do. But I leaned on those that I knew cared about me, and I was
Mm-hmm.
able to get through, those crazy times.
That's an amazing story, and I'm happy you're here with us, I think just listening to that, it's incredible how things just kind of build up and build up and build up, and how overwhelming things can get. Like you said, asking for help, and then also the story of going to the mountains and playing in the snow, just kind of giving yourself that space,
Hmm.
to be alone with yourself, be alone with your thoughts, kind of like you said, like reevaluate, reorganize, like what do you want, what do you need at this part of your life. And
Right.
super powerful story. I love the snowman thing, right? Like you said, however you got to let it out, whether it's to the snowman. For me, like, I write everything down. God help the person that finds my journal and reads the nonsense that comes through my brain. But like, you've got to have that release, right?
Right.
And now, would you say like training and races kind of helps give you that mental health release?
Oh yeah, yeah. And this is one thing when I was going through, the hard times of my marriage and stuff. I would work out for 2 hours every morning before work at the gym. I would go
Hmm.
to work for my 8 or 9 hours, and then I would either go back to the gym or I would go, run the mountains, run the trails, just
Hmm.
to, get away. And even to this day, yeah, training is an amazing way to get the brain, moving. I guess you can say, it's therapy for me.
Absolutely. Movement is medicine. That's what I
Yep.
always tell myself. Like, if you're having a bad day, even in just a walk, you go outside, you're in nature, you move your body in some type of way, you will feel better after it. You may not think of going out, but you absolutely will, a thousand
Right.
percent of the time.
Yep.
Yeah, your journey, it's just the challenges that you've overcome are incredible. And I have a friend that's an addiction counselor, and she's referred this podcast as a resource for someone in recovery. And I think part of it is just like trying to openly talk about struggles, not being pinned down by your past. Every day you can decide what's possible for you. And that's kind of the stuff that I like to talk about a lot. If you were talking directly to that audience, somebody that's just, really in it and in difficult times, and they want to make massive changes, maybe it's with addiction, maybe it's something else. What would you say some of the things that you found? Like, I know the physical movement is one of those things, but some things that have really helped you to manage the challenges that you've had, and as they, any challenges that continue to come up, or that any things that you could recommend as far as helping them through their struggles?
I think the main thing is know your tools. You always have to have a plan, and sometimes you have to, you have plan A, but sometimes plan A doesn't always go as planned. And so you've got to
Hmm.
have a backup plan. You got to go to plan B sometimes. I think one of the main things is you've got to have a team. You can't do it alone. It's not going to happen. You've got to find people that are that love you, that care about you, that are going to be there to help you when you need the help. But then again, like we talked about, you've got to ask for it. You've got to let people know what your plans are so that they can help you with your plan. When you
Hmm.
start to fall, they can lift you up. Hey, let's continue on. Let's get down this path together.
Hmm.
Kind of thing. My wife now, Stephanie, she's a huge help for me, because whenever I am struggling with something, I know that I can go to her and talk to her about it. And
Hmm.
vice versa. We talk all the time about things. And I've got so many friends and other family members that have gone through worse things than I have, that I know
Hmm.
that I can go to any of them to get through whatever I'm going through, and they know they can come to me as well. And so I think that's the main thing is having a team that's there to support you in any aspect of life.
Yeah, definitely. I think that's it. Like you said, figure out who those people are in your life that you can lean on, that can lean on you, and kind of assemble that team however you have to, and keep that communication open, be willing to say when it's difficult, when you need help. So you're somebody that has accomplished a ton, especially like I said, the endurance races, 29 on 29. I look at you as somebody, especially your attitude on the mountain. There isn't anything that Cowbell Rob can't do. That is just, yeah,
Come
it's
on.
no, it's true. And I know I am not the only person that has met you on the mountain that feels that way. Like, you are just this force to be reckoned with. And you are. And like I said, you're so instrumental in helping others achieve their goals. But like you said, you're an endurance athlete. You've done 50 milers, you've done 29 o 29. How do you approach goal setting? Like, deciding what it is that you want to do, and then what strategies do you use to stay focused and motivated, especially when you don't want to do what you have to do?
Adrian, this is a funny question, because there's so many people out there, and my wife Stephanie is huge at it. She's great at writing the goals down.
Hmm.
I don't do that. I am a fly by the seat of my pants kind of guy. Let's just go do it. And
I
there's
love
been
it.
times that I've gone out and ran a 50 miler without even training. It was awful. I'll be completely honest with
But you did it.
you, but I did it. And so, but then there's other years that I've trained really hard and done really well.
Hmm.
Um, I thought I could do a 100 miler here in Utah, without any training, because it's flat. There's not a whole lot of elevation here. I got through the 50 miles like I'm done. I can't continue on,
Hmm.
and so I learned you can't BS your way through 100 miles.
Sure can't.
So no, up until I'd say last year, when I was training for 29 o 29, I've really never set goals. Yeah, I've had plans of doing different events or doing different things, and just in my mind I know what I have to do to get ready for them. But that's pretty much it. I know, like this year, I have set some goals, because after last year of all the training that I did, the events that I was able to participate in throughout the year, I felt so much better with all the
Hmm.
training that I did with my diet, nutrition, everything that way. After my event in August, I pretty much took the rest of the year off, and I'm back to where I was when I started that last year, and I feel awful. And so
Hmm.
I'm changing things up, and in fact, I started my exercise program again yesterday. My diet, all over. And last night working, I felt miserable, because my body's like, we don't want to do this. So, but I know what it's going to take to get to where we want to be by the end of the year, and so
Hmm.
we're going to do it.
I love that. And I think flying by the seat of your pants, I think that is a perfectly amazing strategy. I think the key in that is you don't overthink things. If you know you want to do something, and whether or not you've done this massive training plan or you haven't, that's the thing that you want to do, you're going to do it. You're going to figure out a way. And the 100 miler, if it didn't work, okay, what can I learn from it? I can't BS my way through 100 miles. So if I'm going to try that again, it's going to require a little bit more, and I think that is massively important because people get so stuck in their mind sometimes about, what can I do? What can't I do? What is this going to take? And almost overthink themselves out of doing it. But I think that it's super powerful to just be like, that's the thing I'm going to do. And then you go do it and adjust as you need to, figure it out, learn from it.
Yep.
It's badass.
Yep. That's the way we roll.
So events, you've got a family, like you said, 5 kids, you got a wife, you got a career with UPS. How do you balance everything? What does that look like? Like, I know today we're starting the podcast and you haven't had a ton of sleep because you had some work and you got to go to bed and then do it again. How do you find some way to manage all of the competing demands and still pursue the things that you want to pursue for yourself?
My cousin, he's lives down in central Utah. He's a farmer. He raises cattle. He works his job. He does a lot of church stuff. And both him and I are in the same boat. We get an average of about 3 to 5 hours of sleep a day. And we just figure we'll sleep later on in life. We got too many things to do and to worry about and to enjoy. Let's just go out and do what we want. And when the time comes, and Stephanie and I think last year from April to I think November, there were 4 weekends that we were home. Other than that, speaking of Steph, hi wife.
Is she there?
Yeah, she just walked in.
Hello.
Come say hi to Adrian. Yeah, so we're always on the go. We've always got things to do and people to see and family and whatever. And hi, Steph.
Hello. How are you?
Good.
Awesome to see you.
She just got home from work.
Okay.
So, but no, that's what we do.
That's awesome though. Like what kind of makes you tick, what you can handle, and like you're building this life where it's so rich with people and events and family, and yeah, I admire the way that you're able to kind of make space for all of it.
We do our best. So, sometimes it doesn't always work, but we roll with it.
It's all you can do, right? Like, just have a plan, and the plan goes to pieces. Try the other plan, and just kind of, keep going and adjust it as you need. So I kind of mentioned when we started and a little bit throughout, but you've been instrumental to me succeeding on the mountain in 29 out of 29, from that very first climb to every climb that I've had since. Just the energy that you bring, the cowbell, which you could hear no matter where you are on the mountain. If Rob is ringing the cowbell, you can hear it, and it is an absolute lifesaver. To a thing that you and Stephanie do is you bring surprise foods that the aid stations don't have. And when people are like at their lowest point, you kind of observe too. I don't know if you realize that you do this, but you both observe what people gravitate towards for snacks, and kind of chocolatey or salty or whatever it is. When you bring out the secret ones, the one that they're going to love, and you just magically put it in front of them. Oreos and Swedish fish. You both get me every time with them. Just when I think I'm like, this is BS, and I am like, I need to go. I don't know what I need to do, but I need to get off this mountain. You're like, oh, Adrian, you want some Oreos? And I'm just like, oh my God. And yeah, it's just like the little things like that, though. Like I said, you notice the things that people need, and not everybody can do that. Not everybody has that gift, and your passion for helping other people achieve their goals and their dreams it's incredible. Is there a particular thing that you can put your finger on that drives that passion for helping others the way that you do? Or has it kind of just always been in the DNA, like something you've always done? Or was there like a turning point?
This is the time we get emotional, Adrian.
Oh gosh, here we go.
So October 3rd, 2017, my niece overdosed on heroin. And the way that she served others, the way that she helped everybody around her, whether it was just a simple wave, a simple smile, or whether she actually did service for you, doing something for anybody. She always looked for ways to help others, to put a smile on everybody else's face. And when she passed away, I told myself that I would never let that part of her, disappear. I've always been a, happy, energetic, kind of guy. But with not letting that part of her go, it just intensified everything that I do when it comes to helping people out. And I just want to be a gift of service to anybody and everybody I come in contact with.
What was your niece's name?
Her name was Carly.
Carly?
Yep.
Sounds like a beautiful soul, and I think she is shining through you.
She was amazing.
It radiates through you. It really does.
No, and I think, like, what you say when it comes to, us bringing out the secret foods. I think it's all of our experience,
Mhm.
with endurance sports, all of our volunteering, between the different companies that we've worked for, we've seen it. We know,
Mhm.
what to look for when it comes to, the fatigue that people are going through, and what they may need. People don't realize, oh, my fingers are starting to get puffy. Well, what does
Mhm.
that mean? Oh, I don't know. You're low on sodium. You're low on salt. Your electrolytes are, gone. You need
Mhm.
something to, So yeah, here's some salt tabs. Here's my Oreo with a little bit of peanut butter on it. You know,
Mhm.
yeah. Where's my Swedish fish? Where's my gummy bears? Where's my, yeah. Or did you get some of my tortillas with avocados on it at Jackson Hole?
I did not.
See, that was
Ah.
another. I brought it for myself, but I started to, like, somebody's dragging ass and they need some help, and so I was like,
Mhm.
let's see if they want some. Sure enough, I pull it. Oh my god! You sprinkle some salt on it, and man, that's like heaven.
Oh, breathing life back into people is what you're doing. It's amazing though, because like you said, like noticing stuff though, like the puffy fingers, even if somebody doesn't say it, you are so in tune with the people that you're supporting. You notice those subtle differences, and it is a gift being able to be there the way that you are for people. I say it's incredible, but it truly is, because I volunteered for stuff and I don't see things the way that you do. You're just so in tune with everyone, and it's not an exaggeration to say with the things that you pick up on and the solutions that you're able to just present in front of people, you really are breathing life back into them. And it's that type of attention that you give people that allows them to reach their goals. And I mean, you're helping people achieve their dreams on the mountain, truly. And that's so special.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. So if somebody wants to lead like a more purposeful life in service to others, like you said, you had Carly's example. She did so much for other people, no matter what they needed. She was there for them. Do you have any recommendations for somebody that maybe hasn't really led that life of service, but desires to show up more or better for people? How do they find their people or figure out a way to do that for others?
I've got a friend at work. She's a single mom, and she's had struggles with being a single parent.
Hmm.
And one of her friends, I believe she said, gave her some cards of affirmation,
Hmm.
that she puts them out at her desk every day at work. And I love when I get done with my day going in and seeing what she's, what cards she's pulled out. And one
Hmm.
that the other day that she pulled out said that something about you have the strength to overcome anything that comes your way. Little things like that, and just a simple reading of a card like that, and the conversation that me and three other gals and a guy in the office had, it really meant something, that we were all in tears
Hmm.
just having a conversation with somebody about, why are we stronger with the obstacles in life, the things we overcome. Sometimes it's just, open your mouth, tell your story, and let people learn from it. Just saying hello to somebody can be of service. It's simple, but a lot of people don't think that if I smile at this guy, or if I wave to this person, that it's going to do something for them. It may not. It may change their life. It may save their life. What if that person was, thinking about committing suicide that day, and you stopped and said hello and have a little conversation? And they're like, wow, maybe their life is worth living. You don't know. I heard that. Let me think. The average person in their lifetime meets about 70,000 people, comes in contact with 70,000 people in their lifetime. If everybody was kind and generous, and gave that smile or wave to those 70,000 people throughout their lifetime, that it would take 8 to 9,000 people to change the world. So you figure, okay, 8,000 divided by 8,000 is what?
One.
One. It only takes one person, Adrian.
Mm-hmm.
Make sure that you're that one person, and spread it.
Mm-hmm.
Let's change the world.
I love it. And you saying that, like the hello, my grandmother, she was a huge influence in my life. She died in 2004, and she used to go on morning walks. And if I was home or it was the weekend or whatever, I'd go with her. And she would say good morning to every single person she passed. Every person. And some people just looked at her and didn't say anything. Some
Yep.
people said good morning back, kept walking. And then other people stopped and took that as the invitation to talk about a lot more. I can remember, especially when I was really young, kind of seeing this. And like I said, it would be the no acknowledgement, the good morning back, and the you're getting a life story almost from somebody or like what's going on in their day or their struggles. And it's like,
Uh,
you don't know this person, just pass them on the sidewalk. And my grandmother was very much like, you never know who needs that hello. Maybe the person that doesn't acknowledge you, maybe they're surrounded by tons of people. They have all of the relationships, the happiness, whatever it is in their life. They don't need that from you that day. That's fine. They can keep walking. Doesn't impact her mood or the fact that she's going to say it to the next person. And just you talking about that, that's something that she very much believed in. You never know when you cross somebody's path and you're kind to them, you say hello, you acknowledge that they exist, what that could be for them.
right.
And it's something that I've tried to always keep in my mind. Yeah, if you're around people, you're passing somebody, they're a person, they're there, acknowledge them, talk to them. It could be, like you said, it could be the biggest difference. Maybe that's the day they're thinking about and in their life, and you seeing them is the thing that makes them rethink that.
Yeah. Crazy, isn't
It really is. And
it?
yeah, it's it's like for such a huge world, it really is kind of small. Or your ability to have influence, it's a lot closer than you think that it is a lot of times.
Hmm.
Do you have any daily practices or rituals that keep you connected to yourself or that like purpose driven mission like at the forefront? Is there anything that you do every day that's for you that kind of keeps you grounded?
A lot of people make fun of me because I say this quite often to people. Sometimes you just got to look at yourself in the mirror and tell yourself you're amazing.
Mm-hmm.
You are amazing.
Mm-hmm.
There's times that I'll and this is another thing that people laugh at, but sometimes I'll get out of bed and I'll say, hey, let's take on the day.
Mm-hmm.
Something simple as that. Yeah, I won't say it out loud. I'll just say it in my mind.
Mm-hmm.
But simple things. You need to tell yourself that you are amazing, that you can do whatever you put your mind to, and that's pretty much what I do. And I go about my day, and yeah, there's things that happen that that's stupid. Why and you could let yourself get down, or you can it's in the past now. I can't dwell on it. Let's move forward. Let's find something that's going to keep us going.
That's really powerful because a lot of times we're waiting for other people to tell us the things that we need to hear, but you can tell yourself whatever it is that you need to hear, whatever you need for
Right?
that day. Do you have a lesson that stands out in your mind? I know for me, I can be like a learn the hard way kind of person sometimes. I need that challenge to like slap me in the face 3 times before it sticks, where I'm like, oh, okay, this is what I need. Do you have anything that stands out in your mind as something that was a hard learned lesson, but is kind of something that you carry with you now?
Oh goodness. I think the 18 years of hard marriage that I went through, several lessons obviously were learned there, but in my marriage now, Stephanie and I have been married for 5 years. I can count on one finger probably, the one time that either of us had got upset at the other,
Mm-hmm.
and if there was, something that's gone on between the two of us, we actually like stop what we're doing and we talk about it. We communicate and we figure things out and we work the problem out and we move forward. Why get upset and scream and yell at somebody? There's no point. It doesn't get you anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's the main thing is learn how to communicate with somebody. If it's not your marriage, just in life, you got a problem with somebody, let's talk about it. Let's figure it
Mm-hmm.
out. Let's get past it and let's continue on.
Yeah, that's such an important lesson because I think a tendency for a lot of people is to like, they don't want to have the hard conversation. If it's uncomfortable, if it's going to make things a little awkward in the present moment, let's avoid this for as long as we can. But sometimes that 5 to 10 minutes of awkwardness up front and saves you hours and days and months of struggle down the road
Yes.
if you could just figure out a way to have it.
And then so many people are scared to do it.
Yeah. I ask myself a lot of questions. I too am somebody that talks to myself. But one of the things that I ask myself is, what if nothing changes? So if nothing changes, can I be okay with this status quo? The answer is no. This is going to bother me. then you need to have the conversation somehow, some way, as awkward as it might be. Because like you said, otherwise you're carrying around that backpack full of weight when you could resolve it and put it down by just having a conversation.
Yep. And if the other person doesn't want to have that conversation, you tried, you know, maybe later on in life they'll want to come back. Okay, let's do it now. But
Mm-hmm.
move on. It's sad, but I haven't talked to members of my family, my brother, my mom, for almost over 2 years now, because of some stupid stuff that's gone on in the family. And I've reached out to them, and they don't want anything to do with me. So the ball's in their court. When they want to come talk to me, I'm ready. Let's do it.
Mm-hmm.
But until then, I'm sorry. I'm not gonna put my life on hold and dwell on what happened when I can move forward and be happy.
You can't compromise yourself, your values. You can only do what you can do. And if you're good with what you've done, like you said, you reach out, you try to keep that line of communication open. You're open to it for whenever they're ready to receive it. But really, as long as you're good with what you're doing, that effort that you're putting in, that's all we can do, right?
Yep.
So, like you said, you set some goals for this year. What are your aspirations, whether it's this year or in the future, as both an endurance athlete, as somebody that helps others? Like big picture, what do you see for the future?
2024 is going to be a year of, I got one new event that I've never even thought or imagined of doing, and I signed up for it today.
Ooh,
Yo,
what is it?
Adrian. Um,
If you don't want to say it out loud yet, totally fine. I don't want to put you in the spot.
we're good. We're good. And I'll do I'll go live on Instagram or something and tell everybody. But a buddy of mine has done an event back east called Heart of the South, and he enjoyed it so much that he's bringing it. He's doing his own event here in Utah. And the event is we're going to start in Salt Lake City. In fact, it's the same weekend as Snow Basin.
Oh, okay.
And so I've got to figure out how to maneuver my days, and it's going to be tough, but I'm going to figure it out. What it is we start in Salt Lake City, and we have 10 days to travel 420 miles to Island Park, Idaho via Yellowstone. It's all on foot, no crew. You're all by yourself.
Fully self-supported then.
Yes. And he's got a map of the trails and roads. You're walking on the side of the highway. You're walking on dirt roads. You're walking on trails through the mountains. We're going to be dealing not only with traffic, but then where are we going to sleep at night or during the day? Where are we going to get our next meal? There's certain sections that are 30, 40, almost 50 miles without any food stops. And so you've got to plan ahead, and how much can I carry to get me through the next 40 miles? We got to take water filters with us to filter our own water when it comes to being in the mountains. We got to worry about wildlife. 10 days to go 420 miles up through Jackson Hole, Yellowstone National Park, over to Island Park, and it is going to be the scariest thing I've ever done. But I'm so looking forward to it.
That is incredible! Holy smokes! For perspective, 420 miles, that's 10 days, 42. I mean, if you average it, right? Like some days you may do more, some days you may do less, but 42 miles a day for 10 days straight.
Right?
That is wild. And like you said, carrying stuff, the terrain. Oh.
Yeah, it's going to be brutal.
And amazing.
Exactly.
No matter what happens, every day is going to be just a wild adventure. It really is.
It is. And so like I say, the event starts the same morning of the Snow Basin event. And so I got to figure out, if I start the day before, hiked up to, pretty much our house, up to Snow Basin area, and work that weekend and then continue on.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, but it's going to be fun. I'm looking forward to it.
That's amazing. That is huge. Wow. Blew my mind with that one. I don't know what I thought you were going to say, but I did not expect a 10-day wilderness trek, 420 miles. Wow.
Yep.
Okay, so I've monopolized your time for nearly an hour now. Love chatting with you. What is a piece of wisdom, a mantra, anything that you live by or that's helped you that you want to share?
I think for all of those people out there that are listening, if you're religious or not, if you read the Bible, the story of David and Goliath. Goliath was a giant. He defeated everybody. He was a champion. He killed everybody that came in front of him. David being a young boy, he was able to defeat Goliath because of the way he went about it. He was very unconventional. He didn't fight Goliath like everybody else did, obviously, because they lost. David defeated him doing things the way he knew how, using the tools that he knew how to use. When King Saul gave him his armor, he didn't know how to fight with armor and a sword and a shield. He took it off. He's like, let me do it my own way. And I think in life, a lot of us try to do things the same way as others, even though it may not work for us. We got to learn how to do things unconventionally. We got to do things the way that we know how to do it. And if we do that, like with my goal setting, I don't do it. I go about it the way I know how. I still accomplish the things that I want to do. Sometimes that's the way we got to do things. Just because somebody tells you to do it one way, that may not work for you. Try something else. Try it a different way. Look for other ways to do things to succeed in life.
That's amazing. Thank you. Yeah, super powerful. I just want to say thank you so much for being willing to sit down and talk to me. Like I said, from the day that I met you at 29, you've been somebody that I've admired. I love spending time with. You're an amazingly positive person, and you make every room that you step into brighter and better. I feel fortunate to know you. So thank you.
Thank you, Adrian. And I enjoy, whether you're climbing the mountain or volunteering on the mountain, I love being around you as well.
I try to keep up with the cowbell ringing, but you're so much better than I am at that. Oh, I love it. Thank you so much. That's it for today's episode, my friends. Thanks so much for joining me on the Live Your Truth, Love Your Life podcast. To get even more out of today's conversation, don't forget to swing by the show notes and download your freebie. Want to keep the conversation going? I'd love to hear what spoke to you most today. Head on over to my Instagram at Live Your Truth, Love Your Life and drop me a comment. I'm always excited to connect and learn more about you. Remember, the journey towards living your truth and loving your life is a rewarding one. New episodes are dropping each Monday and Thursday, and I can't wait for next time. Until then, have a fantastic week.